barrage of hail and rain.
I've not seen a huge tree like this just snap.
The cleanup after Calgary is pummeled with a summer storm. Drivers in the Northeast forced to detour on this.
Well, there isn't a road. You can't call this a road.
And they say it's the only option they have for now. And the Stampede wraps up with many memories made, but also questions about crowd control.
CTV Calgary, local breaking news with Camilla DiGiuseppe.
Good evening. RCMP and Airdrie are investigating what appears to be a shooting in the southeast part of the city. At around 6 p.m., members were called to the newer neighborhood of Lanark along Lanark Boulevard for shots fired. The residential street was heavily taped up by police, and at the center of the investigation is a black Ford Bronco, which appeared to have several bullet holes on the driver's side door. The vehicle was stopped in the middle of the road. RCMP have not said whether a victim has been taken to hospital or if they have anyone in custody. They are collecting evidence at the scene, that is before the vehicle was towed away. Mounties say there is no risk to the public at this time and will provide more information when it becomes available. And we will update you as soon as we know more. Well, it's been less than a year since a massive hailstorm rained destruction on Calgary. So when that massive hailstorm blew through the city last night, it had a lot of people worried. While this storm made a mess out of trees and gardens, it thankfully left cars and houses mostly unscathed. Kevin Green reports.
This is what it looked like as hail poured from the sky Sunday night. And this is what it sounded like as hailstones the size of loonies whacked into houses in Mount Pleasant. For the most part, the houses and cars were spared damage, at least from the hail. But the wind felled this 20-meter tall green ash tree, toppling it onto Aaron Stevens' camperized minivan.
You think maybe a branch here or there might come down, or yeah, you expect some hail damage, but no, I've not seen a huge tree like this just snap.
The hardest hit areas were in northwest Calgary. The hail cut through gardens like a combine and stripped branches off trees.
With that hail and all that, you couldn't even see probably 10 feet in front of you. Just, yeah. It come up so fast, 5 minutes it took.
Just kind of out of nowhere, the wind picked up and just huge hailstones start coming down, and yeah, just kind of caught everybody off guard. A couple of trees went down in the neighborhood, and yeah, just lots of damage, that's for sure.
Oh, the wind has come in like 60, 70 mile an hour or more, I guess. Knocked one of my trees down, and the backyard just looks like a war zone now.
Leaving residents like Shauna Langenberger cleaning up between breaks in Monday's continuing rainfall.
Trees are just shredded. Our spruce trees, which are 50 years old, probably 50% of the volume of the tree is now laying on the ground.
The City of Calgary says it has not yet been able to place a value on the damage to the city's urban canopy. Kevin Green, CTV News, Calgary.
The city officials say all this rain should not create any overflow from the Bow and Elbow rivers. The city has adjusted water levels at the Glenmore Reservoir in response to expected runoff from the Elbow River. But while you will see the water levels rise along the Bow and Elbow, officials aren't expecting any flooding.
We're expecting moderate impacts, and so this is, for a summer rainfall event, it'll raise our river levels back to sort of more typical spring levels. So what you would see on the rivers on a normal June day, maybe a little bit higher than that.
One or two pathway underpasses will be closed along the Elbow due to higher flow. Officials will restore the Glenmore Reservoir to normal levels this week to ensure water supply if conditions dry up over the next couple of months. Motorists in the Northeast are facing a very bumpy drive. They say the road they usually use has been closed off, and the detour is anything but smooth. This is Beaver Dam Road, located north of McKnight Boulevard and east of Deerfoot Trail. And it's riddled with potholes, and drivers are forced to slow down. It's not a paved road, and we're told it's been in bad shape for years. But currently, it's the only way in and out of a section of this industrial park. That's because the road they normally use had been recently closed and will be well into August.
It just closed today, or the weekend, and now it's closed till August the 11th. And I don't know, look at these poor people here in a car trying to get through this.
It's a very busy area, you know, it's industrial, I understand, but I don't know why it's left this way.
2-3 years ago, yes, I have tried using it, and it's terrible. It's a terrible road. It's just neglected.
One thing these motorists would like to see is for the city to grade the road to level it out. The city is currently doing bridge rehabilitation and flood mitigation work on the Goddard Avenue Bridge, resulting in the rough detour for drivers. The city website says work will be done by August 7th. Gina is in with our first look at the weather. Doesn't feel so much like summer this week, but we do have some sunshine on the way.
Exactly. I guess a bit of a Stampede cleanse is happening right now. Definitely a wet day out there, cooler temperatures as well. But we're starting to wrap up the rain and heading into tomorrow morning. Lots of sunshine back in the forecast, but a little bit below seasonal. So tonight, expecting a low of 9 degrees, mostly cloudy conditions because that rain is supposed to wrap up during this hour here. And then, yeah, waking up tomorrow, maybe a trace shower out there, but lots of sunshine on tap throughout the day, getting us to a high of 18 degrees. I'll have more on your 5-day forecast coming up.
Thank you so much, Gina. The Calgary Stampede has officially wrapped for another year, and it fell just short of an overall attendance record. Officials call this year a success, but admit changes need to come to address overcrowding and safety concerns. Jordan Canigan has more.
The soggy Stampede cleanup is underway. Crews are dismantling and loading up equipment after more than 1.4 million people passed through the gates this year. Overall attendance falling just 7,600 people short of a new record.
That's not the focal point. The focal point needs to be the experience we are providing on park. Because if everyone who comes on this park has an outstanding experience, they're more likely to come back in the future.
This year's event didn't go off without its challenges. On Saturday, a horse was euthanized after suffering a broken leg during the Rangeland Derby.
We have asked law enforcement to investigate what happened leading to this animal's death. There are animal protection laws in this province that prohibit causing distress to animals, and rodeo events should not be considered exempt from that law.
Safety for Stampede goers is also a concern. On Tuesday, 3 teenagers were assaulted and stabbed on the Midway, and overcrowding at Coke Stage concerts has officials considering changes.
The Coke Stage presentation, whether that involve additional crowd control measures or evaluating which artists are placed on the Coke Stage.
But there's no doubt the Stampede is a top draw in the country.
The greatest demand came from within Canada, with over half of the hotel rooms sold coming from Canadians all over the country. The other points of demand were growth from Australia, Mexico, Central America.
Organizations are benefiting too. Leftover food from the 5 restaurants at GMC Stadium are being donated and distributed to dozens of community groups to hand out to those with food insecurity.
We serve over 564,000 Calgarians in Calgary throughout the year, and this donation will go to over 444,000 of our clients that we serve.
Jordan Cadigan, CTV News, Calgary.
Security and crowd issues are top concerns, and Stampede officials will be traveling to other major music events to see how the Stampede could improve security and those crowd issues. 2 Calgarians say their privacy has been breached after their personal health information was shared during a records mix-up by the College of Physicians and Surgeons of Alberta. The college claims this is a rare situation, but admits it's a concerning one. It was only made aware of this breach this morning by CTV News, and now it has opened an investigation. Here's Tyson Fedor.
It was not how Tiffany Matson and Curtis Thiessen planned to meet.
It's signed by the hearings director, but the information is not my information. It's his information.
Last week, Matson was awaiting a board decision from the College of Physicians and Surgeons of Alberta for a complaint that she had filed against a medical professional. Instead, she received a cover letter with her information, but the decision for someone else's case.
Once I moved on to the second page, I started to notice they were talking about a physician that was not the physician in which I had a complaint about. And as I read further down, I noticed that there was another patient's name. This was not my decision. This was not my appeal. This had nothing to do with me.
That person was Thiessen. So Matson sought him out to deliver his personal medical information. Thiessen also received his decision by mail, but was stunned to see a copy had also gone to Matson.
When you get a cold call like that, someone's asking about personal information, it's kind of like, who are you? I was rather kind of taken aback by that. I was like, that's my personal and private information.
Thiessen questions how this happened and now worries about other medical mix-ups.
It's an egregious mistake, right? And I think somebody needs to know exactly right now what's going on, because how many other victims are there out there?
In 2024, there were 10 reported privacy breaches to the college, none that met the privacy commissioner's reporting requirements.
If this is a part of a broader pattern, or there are other individuals affected, then that's where potentially there'd be a role for the privacy commissioner to review the information handling practices of the college and to make recommendations.
Matson complained to the college and finally received her report late Monday afternoon by email. She's still unsure where her mailed copy might be.
And I'm terrified of where my information is. This is really confidential information that I don't want out there floating around.
Tyson Fedor, CTV News, Calgary.
The college also says that it takes protecting Albertans' privacy very seriously. It adds that if any physician or member of the public suspects a privacy breach, they should contact them immediately. Alberta Health Services is warning the public about 2 people with measles who separately visited a number of public places in the Calgary area. The potential exposures happened at the Travelers Inn in Northwest Calgary between July 8th and 9th, the Banff Gondola on July 9th, and several automotive businesses that day. Then on the 11th, one person went to the South Health Campus Emergency Department. The Riverbend Campground in Okotoks is also on the list. Anyone who visited these places should self-monitor for measles. The dates and times of these events are on our website. Alberta now has more cases of measles than the entire United States. Alberta Health recorded 30 new cases since Friday, bringing the province-wide total to 1,314. Across the U.S., there's a total of 1,288 cases. The CDC updates the number of cases every Wednesday, so this number represents how many cases there were 5 days ago. Provincial data shows 87% of people who have been infected across Alberta are unvaccinated. Alberta Health Services says the measles vaccine is highly effective at preventing infection and complications. Well, stress is building for Canadians who are finding life a little too expensive, and it's highest for Albertans. That story just ahead. Today marks 25 years since Canada's 4th deadliest tornado. On July 14th, 2000, an F3 tornado hit the Green Acres Resort Campground near Pine Lake, southeast of Red Deer. 12 people were killed, over 100 were injured. It touched down with 300-kilometer-an-hour winds lasting about half an hour, destroying homes, farms, and 400 campsites with an estimated $15 million in damage. Alberta leads the way, the country, in residents feeling overwhelmed by their financial situation, and an estimated 1.8 million Albertans say they are close to financial insolvency. A new report from MNP shows that people in our province are bogged down in debt, but a local nonprofit says there are options for help. Alicia Fieldberg reports.
The high cost of living and economic uncertainty surrounding tariffs is weighing on Canadians, but especially Albertans.
So it's devastating, stress. It's tough.
The life is tough.
Albertans are more likely than any other province really to report feeling anxious or stressed about their financial situation.
The latest MMP Consumer Debt Index shows 41% of Albertans polled say they feel anxious about their finances. And nearly half of Albertans say they are $200 or less away from financial insolvency, which is up since the last report.
Whether it's a flood or a fire or a change in the economy, there's always something that seems to be happening here in Alberta.
While about 1/3 of Albertans say their debt situation is excellent, there has been a spike in the number of Albertans worried that interest rates could drive them toward bankruptcy. Even if the interest rates drop, 46% of Albertans are still concerned about their ability to repay debt.
It's not always low income. It's not always people who have spent too much and lived a really frivolous lifestyle. We're certainly seeing a lot more folks who have tried to keep their businesses going.
Calgary nonprofit Momentum says they've worked with thousands of people to change their financial situations.
You're not alone, and you're not necessarily doing things wrong. So a lot of the affordability issues that you might be experiencing at a household level, they are impacted by huge systemic factors.
It hosts free money management workshops every Monday night, offering advice and providing a community of support for the growing number of people feeling the financial pinch.
I have to do more hours to be able to afford my bills. I'm not talking about luxury. Luxury doesn't exist in here, you know. For me, in Calgary right now, if you pay your rent and your phone bill and everything, you're the hero of the heroes.
Alicia Fieldberg, CTV News, Calgary.
And you can find out more about the free money management workshops on our website. The Bank of Canada's next interest rate announcement is expected on July 30th. Alberta NDP leader Naheed Nenshi called out the Premier today while announcing a new initiative. The Better Together Summer Initiative pushes back on separatist sentiments and encourages Albertans to consider what being part of a strong Canada looks like. Nenshi says Premier Danielle Smith is pushing a separatist agenda by making it easier to hold a referendum on separation. He also condemns withdrawing from the Canada Pension Plan and replacing the RCMP. The Better Together tour will see NDP members meet with Albertans in small and mid-sized communities this summer.
So this summer, we're putting Danielle Smith on notice as her government and her caucus crumble around her, as her support falls further and further. We are here to let her know that Albertans believe in Canada.
Nenshi is now MLA for Edmonton Strathcona, winning the seat with over 80% of the vote. Gurtesh Singh Brar was also sworn in as MLA for Edmonton Ellerslie. A Calgary man and his wife are taking on a new adventure on two wheels, all to raise awareness and help his fellow veterans. After serving for a combined 10 years in Victoria and Calgary, Jeff Lowe retired after suffering a training injury in 2008. It was after the fact Lowe was diagnosed with several mental health conditions, including PTSD. He wants to help others who serve facing the same challenges by cycling with his spouse in a 7-day ride in Iowa, covering 643 kilometers. You can learn more and to support and donate Lowe by contacting the Veterans Association. Not even the rain could stop him. Well, Gina Martin's up next with her Skywatch forecast, and we do have some more rain on the way, but with some sunshine breaking in between. Those details next.
Well, the wet weather is starting to subside, but it certainly has left its mark. Let's talk about that first system we dealt with, that supercell thunderstorm that moved through on Sunday evening in parts of Calgary and parts of southern Alberta. Here's some of the wind speeds that are being recorded from that storm. South of Cypress Hills, up to 115 km/h wind speeds, same in the Claresholm area. For the Calgary airport, 93 km/h at its peak. It was a very fast-moving system system. It brought heavy rain, lots of hail, and those strong winds, as we just saw there, and a couple of isolated power outages for parts of southern Alberta as well. And this is what we dealt with today. After that storm cell passed through, we had more rain move in a north to south direction, tapering off right at around now at the 11 o'clock hour. Here we're starting to see just those mainly cloudy conditions. Temperatures today, I mean, Calgary, some areas are reporting 15 was our high for today. I saw only 13 for our high, so I think this model's being a little bit generous with its values. But for tomorrow, we'll start to work our way back up into some more seasonal temperatures, still slightly below though, up to 18 for Calgary. Remember, the normal high for this time in July is 23 degrees, so we're on the lower end of the seasonal range there, and we're seeing those high teen values for Brooks and Medicine Hat tomorrow as well. So a cooler day. It's kind of a reset day from all this rain that's moved through, but like you see here, it's starting to taper off into the overnight hours, and it'll really calm down as we get into Tuesday afternoon. Wednesday's looking great in southern Alberta and central Alberta, but it's the Thursday that we start to see our next chance of some unstable weather moving through. Some thunderstorms possible, probably late Thursday afternoon and overnight into Friday there, where there's another risk of thunderstorms during the day. So we really just get the stability for Tuesday and Wednesday, and then we see that readjustment in the jet stream that could cause, again, more active weather to move through, and it'll really cool our temperatures down as well. You can see for Thursday, 16 degrees only, back into the 20s for the weekend. But yes, it's going to be a pretty active couple of days up in the sky as we get into the back half of the work week.
All right, Gina, thanks so much. A first-time golfer pulls off an ace. A hole-in-one on her first ever par 3 in K Country. Her story next.
And the Rangeland Derby Championship, Cash for Cash, is southbound and out of town.
Well, it came down to this. Chance Vegan, who led the pack all week, Jason Glass and Jamie Laboucaine in the Chuckwagon finals last night at Stampede Park. Vegan had no problem crossing the finish line with his fastest time all week. This is his first Rangeland Derby Championship, taking home 50 grand and a brand new truck. A very well-deserved win for the hometown kid. Well, she's been the talk of the links in Kananaskis country, where golfers and staff are green with envy. 23-year-old Emma Strong sunk her first ever hole-in-one on the par 3 fourth hole on the Mount Lorette course. The odds of doing that are 1 in 12,500. But here's the thing. She's never played golf in her life, which makes the feat all the more spectacular. And her co-workers agreed. The thrilling moment was posted to Kananaskis Golf Course social media pages. Strong is from Manchester, England, and picked up summer work at the course's snack shack. At first, she didn't understand what the fuss was all about. She thought holes-in-one happened all the time.
I started telling people and told my brother plays golf, and no one could believe it, and they were all getting annoyed at me, and I'm like, oh, okay, you've never had one either. Oh, maybe it is a bit rarer than I thought.
Like, it's so typical of golf too that, you know, she gets a hole-in-one on not only on her first round, but literally the first par 3 of her first round.
And Emma says she's enjoying her newfound fame for now. All right, that's it for us here at CTV News at 11:30. Thanks for watching. Have a great night.